Hey everyone, this is Steven here, back at it again with another video. In today's video, we're going to look at the NFL, NBA, and MLB sports card markets, and then we're going to look at some of the cards that I have recently been buying, selling, and holding. But before we get into that, if you enjoy this type of content and would like to see more in the future, please feel free to hit the like button and also subscribe. So now that we got all of that out of the way, we can get into the actual video here. I did want to say that I hope everyone is having a great weekend so far. It is currently Sunday morning. It does look like we have a decent amount of solid NFL games ahead of us today, so I'm going to try to get this video out so I can enjoy some of the football games. But again, I do hope that everyone is having a great weekend so far. The main goal and purpose of this video is to take a look at 3 sports card markets. We're going to be looking at the NFL, NBA, and MLB sports card markets, kind of a high-level overview or recap to see what the markets have been doing over the past month or so. And then the second half of the video, we're going to take a look at some of the cards that I've been buying, selling, and also plan on holding over the past month or so. So stay tuned to the second half of the video to actually look at some of the cards that I've been picking up. So with that being said, we can get into the video here. We're going to start off with the NFL sports card market, and there has been a lot going on in the NFL sports card market, and it's only been 1 week since the season started. We're currently heading into week 2, but week 1 did not disappoint. There were a lot of players that really overperformed, where some players underperformed, and the market is currently reflecting that. So if a player exceeded expectations or had a great game, their cards are currently most likely going to be up. Whereas if a player didn't play up to their expectations or struggled a little bit, their cards are most likely going to be down. So it does seem like the market is really reacting to the overall performances of a particular player. But heading into week 2, we're going to look at Kylie Murray here. He was probably the biggest star of week 1. He had an amazing game against the Titans. The Titans looked out of sorts in that game. It's going to be interesting to see if they can turn their season around a little bit, even though it was week 1, but I think the Seahawks in week 2 will be a good test for them. But anyway, Kyler Murray did have his way with the Titans last week. I have his 2019 Optic base rookie card and then also his 2019 Prizm base rookie card here. Both of these are going to be in PSA 10s. The Prizm base rookie card in a PSA 10 is up about 31% over the past month, whereas the Optic PSA 10 is up about 20% over the past month. So both the Prizm and the Optic have gone up quite significantly over the past month, and as you can see with the Prizm, even more so here over the past week or so after he did have that really good week 1 performance. So it does look like we're starting to see prices really react to performances of a particular player. The next card and player I want to highlight here is Dak Prescott. I have his 2016 Prizm Silver rookie card in a PSA 10, and Dak is another player that overperformed in week 1. There was a lot of question marks going into that game against the Tampa Bay Bucks, whether his ankle would be healthy, whether his shoulder would be healthy or not going into the season. He answered a lot of those questions. He threw for quite a few yards, had a couple touchdowns, and really kept that game competitive against the Bucks. So he really exceeded expectations for week 1 and definitely answered some of the questions as to whether he was healthy or not. But over the past month, this card is up about 10%. So again, we're seeing some price increases based on the performance of particular players. The next overperformer in week 1 I wanted to touch on is Jameis Winston. I have his 2015 Topps Chrome rookie card, and this is going to be in a PSA 10. And Jameis Winston really had a weird week 1. He threw for like 5 touchdowns, but he only had like 150 yards or something pretty small like that. But still, I would say 5 touchdowns is a pretty solid week 1, and they did put a whooping on the Green Bay Packers, who didn't really show up in that game. But the Saints did look pretty solid for week 1. But this card in turn is up about 37% over the past month. Part of that has to do with the fact that he was recently announced about midway through preseason that he would be the starter for the Saints, so he did get a bump there. And then also he did have a pretty solid week 1 with the 5 touchdowns. It's really going to be interesting to see how the Saints utilize him moving forward, whether he's going to be throwing for a ton of yards or not, or it's more going to be a run-heavy offense, which I definitely think it's going to be. So I think it's going to be pretty interesting to see how Jameis does for the remainder of the year. Now we can switch over to some players and cards that didn't really live up to expectations. I have Josh Allen here, and this is his 2018 Optic base rookie card and also his 2018 Prizm base rookie card. And both of these are going to be in PSA 10s. Now, Josh Allen didn't have a terrible game or anything like that against the Steelers. The Steelers just did a very good job at bottling him up, which a lot of people are not able to do, or at least they weren't able to do last year. And there were a lot of expectations built into Josh Allen's cards. So over the past month or so, it looks like the Prizm is down about 7%, whereas the Optic is down about 1%. So some minor decreases for Josh Allen, but as you can see over the short term, over the past week or so, it looks like these cards have gone down a little bit here, and a lot of that is just due to the fact that the Steelers did do a pretty decent job at bottling Josh Allen up. But again, this could be another candidate to keep an eye on. If he has another slow or bad game, I think these cards could come down a little bit more. If his cards keep going down based on a couple of average to mediocre performances, I do think that that could present a decent buying opportunity for Josh Allen, as I personally do believe in him and the Bills moving forward. But this is just something to keep an eye on. But his cards currently are down just a little bit over the past month. And then another underperformer here is Daniel Jones. I have his 2019 Prizm card number 302. This is a base Prizm rookie card in a PSA 10, and this card over the past month is down about 27%. And Daniel Jones actually has 2 games under his belt, as they played the Thursday night football game against the Washington football team. But Daniel Jones is another player that, some people were speculating that he could have a bounce back year with the Giants. They added a couple receivers. Saquon should be back, but as of just 2 weeks, so again, a very small sample size, it doesn't look like that's the case. They have a very awful offensive line, which is a big part of this, but he has not played the best, especially week 1 when they got dominated by the Denver Broncos. Week 2, he played a little bit better, but he still didn't have the best game throwing the football. He did more damage running the ball. So it is going to be interesting to see how these cards bounce back, but that offensive line is very bad in New York. But in turn, this card is down 27.4% over the past month. So to sum up the NFL sports card market, it does look like over the past week and a half or so since the season has started, we are starting to see some price movements that's based on performance of particular players. So if a player does well, such as Jameis, Kylie Murray, a couple of the players that we highlighted earlier, if a player does well, then their cards have gone up a little bit, whereas if a player hasn't lived up to some of the expectations or just has played poorly, their cards are currently trending down. So we are currently seeing price movements based on performance in the NFL sports card market. The next sports card market I want to touch on is the NBA. I haven't touched on this in quite a bit. I'm going to start off with Luka Doncic, and this is his 2018 Prizm base rookie card. This is in a PSA 10. Over the past 30 days, it looks like this card is down about 4.5%. So we'll call this one flat with a slight decrease, down about 4.5% for Luka. Now the season actually starts here in about a month or so, so it is coming up pretty quickly. We're currently in the no man's land for basketball, where the summer league's over. A lot of the bigger offseason trades and free agent has kind of settled down, so we're kind of in just a waiting period for the NBA. Let's check out another player here. I have Giannis Antetokounmpo, and this is his 2013 Prizm card number 290, this base rookie card here. The Bucks did just win the championship last year, so that was pretty impressive to see for Giannis. But this card over the past month is actually up about 2%, so we'll call this one flat with a slight increase over the past month. The next card here is LeBron James. I have his 2003 Topps Chrome card number 111. This is also going to be in a PSA 10. And this card over the past month is actually down about 12%. So this card is down more than the last 2 players we've looked at. So we are seeing some downside in this LeBron James rookie card over the past month. The next player I wanted to look at is Zion Williamson. I have his 2019 Prizm base card number 248, and this is going to be in a PSA 10. And over the past month, this card is down about 1.5%. So again, pretty flat for Zion here, pretty similar to some of the other players and cards that we've been looking at. The next player and card I wanted to highlight is Donovan Mitchell. I have his 2017 Prizm card number 117, and this is his base Prizm rookie card in a PSA 10. And this card over the past month is pretty similar. So it's down about 1.9%. So again, we'll call this one pretty flat with a minor decrease over the past month. So what it does look like we're seeing in the NBA sports card market, and I know we did just look at a very small sample of 5 cards, but it does look like during this waiting period, the cards are pretty much flat for the most part. There could be some minor decreases or also increases, but for the most part, the market as a whole is pretty much flat in this waiting period. I do anticipate cards to start making some moves heading into the regular season as that is coming up here, but as of right now, it is still pretty flat in the NBA sports card market. Last but most certainly not least, we're going to touch on the MLB sports card market, and I'm going to start off with Mike Trout. I have his 2011 Topps update, card number US 175. This is his base rookie card in a PSA 10. Over the past month, this card is actually down about 20%, 18.8%, we'll call it 20%. Mike Trout, as a lot of you guys and gals know, has been battling a calf injury for most of the year, so he's been sidelined, unfortunately, and this card is currently down about 19%, most likely due to that injury, and the Angels do not have a chance to make the playoffs this year. The next card and player I want to highlight is Fernando Tatis Jr. I have 2 cards here. I have his 2019 Topps Chrome Pink Refractor, and this one is actually in a PSA 9. I also have his 2019 Topps Chrome Refractor, also in a PSA 9. And over the past 30 days or so, it looks like the Pink Refractor is down about 1%, whereas the Topps Chrome Refractor is down about 24%. So one card's down about 25%, whereas one's about flat over the past month. And Fernando Tatis Jr. currently has the highest odds of winning the NL MVP this year. It's going to be interesting to see if the Padres can squeak into the playoffs or not. But I did want to highlight some of his cards, as it does look like there's still some downtrends in some of these cards. Another card and player I want to highlight here is Mookie Betts. I have his 2014 Topps Chrome Update rookie card, and this is in a PSA 9. And I'm actually looking at his 180-day chart, and it does look like over the past month or so, this card is relatively flat. But I did want to highlight that just how much this card has come down over the past 180 days. Some of that has to do with just the market as a whole, as we did see a big peak at the beginning of February. But a lot of that also has to do with the fact that Mookie Betts hasn't had the best year. He's still putting together a pretty solid year, but he is really being overlooked by a lot of the younger players, such as the Tatises, the Shohei Ohtanis, and also the Vladimir Guro Jrs. So I did want to just highlight just how much this rookie card here has come down over the past 180 days. Another card or player I want to highlight is Juan Soto. I have his 2018 Topps Chrome Update here, and this is in a PSA 10. Over the past 90 days, it looks like this card is down about 12%, so we are still seeing some downtrends in Juan Soto. But if we pull this out a little bit over the past 180 days, so this is pretty similar to Mookie Betts. As you can see, the peak here, this card was selling for about $521, whereas currently it's selling for $210. So we have seen a pretty big decrease in the Juan Soto sports card market. And again, some of that has to do with just the overall market trends, but some of that also has to do with the fact with Juan Soto is just being overlooked, as the Nationals don't currently have a shot at making the playoffs, and there are still some other young stars that are grabbing a lot of other collectors' attention. And then the last card and player I want to highlight is Vladimir Guro Jr. I have his 2019 Topps Chrome Pink Refractor, and also his 2019 Topps Chrome Base Refractor. So both of these are refractors, and these are both going to be in PSA 10s. It looks like the Chrome Refractor is up 37%, whereas the Pink Refractor is up about 30%. So over the past month, we are seeing some price increase in Vladimir Guro Jr. He's really picked it up over the past month or so, and the Blue Jays are making a run for the playoffs in the AL wildcard spot. So it's going to be interesting to see how that shakes out. And Ohtani is actually slowing down quite a bit over that same time period, whereas Vladimir Guro Jr. is picking up. So it's going to be really interesting to see what happens with the MVP in the AL. I still do think it's going to go to Shohei Ohtani, but Vladimir Guro Jr. is making a very solid case for himself. But as of right now, his cards are up pretty significantly over the past month. And to sum up the MLB sports card market, it's kind of similar to the NBA sports card market, where it seems like we're kind of in a waiting period until we head into the playoffs. Some cards and players are increasing as they're making solid playoff pushes, such as Vladimir Guro Jr. and a lot of the Blue Jays. But for the most part, it's relatively flat heading into the playoffs, as a lot of collectors and investors are still just waiting it out to see what happens moving forward. But with that being said, I'm going to now switch over to my camera and go over some of my more recent buys, sells, and also some cards that I plan on holding. So now that we went over 3 sports card markets, we can get into the fun part, or at least what I think is fun. But we're going to look at some of the cards that I plan on holding, that I have sold or plan on selling, and then also look at some of the cards that I have recently purchased or bought over the past couple months or so. So we're going to start off here with some of the cards that I plan on holding. And after looking at the NBA sports card market, it does appear that we're seeing some flatness in that market as we're just kind of waiting until the start of the season. So as far as holding, all of my NBA basketball cards are going to be holds for me. I have this Luka here, which I don't think I'll ever end up selling. I also have this 2017 Panini Donruss Optic, and this is Donovan Mitchell, and this is the shock variation in a PSA 9. This is a card that I do plan on selling at some point in next year's season for the NBA. I also have Kevin Durant here. This is his orange rookie card in a PSA 8. This is another card that I do plan on selling at some point next year. I do think that the Brooklyn Nets have a pretty good shot at making a deep playoff run as long as they can stay healthy. And I also have this 2003 Topps Chrome Lebron James, and this one is in a PSA 7. This is a card that I recently picked up. As you can see, the centering from left to right is not the best, but it's still a pretty cool card. This is probably a card that I'll never end up selling. So as far as holding, mainly my NBA cards are going to be the cards that I will be holding. I just kind of want to wait and see what happens in that NBA sports card market as we get closer to the season. As far as selling, some of the cards that I've recently sold, I did sell a LeBron James Topps Bazooka rookie card, and I ended up selling that because I did pick up this Topps Chrome rookie card. I didn't think I needed 2 LeBron James rookie cards, so I did end up selling that LeBron James Bazooka rookie card. I did end up selling a Juan Soto PSA 9 Topps Chrome rookie card because and you'll see this shortly, I did pick up another Juan Soto. So I sold off one Soto to pick up another Soto. I sold off some of my Pokemon cards. And then I also sold off some of my base Acuna and Soto rookie cards, as I do have quite a few 2018 Topps Update rookie cards. I've been selling off some of those. And then as far as some of the cards that I plan on selling in the future, as you could tell by the NFL sports card market, we are currently seeing quite a bit of volatility and price movements, and it is very dependent on the performance of a particular player. So as far as cards I plan on selling in the future, it's mainly going to be my NFL sports cards, and I have here Josh Allen SGC 9 rookie card, and this card is currently trending down, actually, as a lot of hype and expectations were built into this card heading into the season, and he did not have the best game against the Steelers, so this card is trending down. But if he does have another good game, this card could spike, or if he has another dominant season this year, I do think that this card will continue going up. So at some point this year, I'm not opposed to selling this Josh Allen card. I'm also not opposed to just holding on to this card, and I do think that if this card keeps going down, I'm definitely not opposed to picking up some more Josh Allen, as I do really believe in him and also the Bills over the long term. In the next card here, I have Sam Darnold. This is 2018 Topps Panini Prizm rookie card, and this is in a BGS 9. I picked this up relatively cheap, so I do think that I'm going to end up selling this card here pretty soon. I'm just hoping that Sam Darnold can have a decent game here coming up. He played okay in the Week 1 opener against the Jets, but I'm hoping that he can have a solid game so I can end up selling this card. And then the last NFL card I have that I plan on selling, and I do have a couple more Carson Wentz cards, but I have his 2016 Panini Prizm Light Blue Prizm, and this is in a PSA 9. Pretty cool looking card here. It'd be cool if this was in a Colts uniform with that color match, but he's obviously a rookie on the Philadelphia Eagles. So this is a card that is still trending down. He didn't have the best opener against the Seahawks. I'm hoping that he can pick it up at some point this year, as he still has a very solid offensive line, a great coach over there on the Colts. So I'm hoping at some point this year that this card does see a little bit of price movement so I can offload this one. Those are some of the cards that I plan on holding, and also some of the cards that I sold off or plan on selling in the future. Now we can get into some of the cards that I've been picking up. And I'm, for the most part, collect baseball, so that's my main PC. And after reviewing some of the the charts, some of the players that I collect or have high conviction in, their cards have gotten pretty cheap, in my opinion, over the past couple of months or so. So I'm going to go over some of the cards that I've been picking up, and most of these are going to be MLB players. The first one is this 2018 Topps Chrome Update, Juan Soto, and this is in a PSA 10. So I did mention earlier that I sold off a PSA 9 of this card, and I did upgrade to the PSA 10. And as you can tell by the chart that I showed earlier, his cards have just been trending down for quite some time, and he's put together a very solid year this year. He's one of the best young players in the game, but it just seems like he's being overlooked this year by some other talented players such as Ohtani or Tatis, and also Vladimir Guro Jr. So I thought that it was a good time to pick up Juan Soto, and I ended up picking this one up for $220. Another card that I picked up is this 2019 Topps Chrome, and this is Fernando Tatis Jr, and this is the refractor. This one is in a PSA 9, so I did not get the 10 here, as those are a little bit over my budget, but I picked this one up mainly due to the fact that he does look like he's going to win the NL MVP this year, and he's still extremely young, has a lot of potential. There's definitely some risk involved with Tatis, as he does get injured quite often. But just looking at my PC, I do have a lot of Acuna and not as much Tatis, so I did want to start adding some more Tatis to my collection. So I just ended up picking up this 2019 Topps Chrome Refractor, and I got this one for $240. And then another pickup that I had was also Tatis, and this one is his 2019 Topps Chrome Pink Refractor, and I actually ended up getting this one for the same price as the base refractor, both at $240. So those are some pickups that I've had over the past couple months, mainly due to the fact that I just wanted to add some more Tatis to my collection, and I do think that he's going to win the NL MVP this year, and I think that he just has a really bright future as long as he can stay healthy. And then the next card I picked up is this 2014 Bowman Prospects, and this is the Chrome, and this is Mookie Betts, and this is a PSA 9. I picked this one up for $90, which I thought was pretty cheap for a first Bowman of Mookie Betts. Mookie Betts has not had the best season this year for his standards, but he's still putting together a pretty solid season. But his cards are really going down as he's being overlooked by some of the new stars in the game. So I did end up picking up this card for $90. And then another pickup I had was this 2014 Topps Chrome Mookie Betts Update. This one is in a PSA 9. Same reasons why I picked up the last card. Mookie Betts cards have just been trending down for quite some time now, and I just think that he has a pretty solid shot at making the Hall of Fame. He already has an MVP under his belt. He's on the Dodgers, has a decent shot at winning quite a few more World Series, and he's still only 28 years old, and these cards actually have a very low population report, especially compared to some of the newer cards. So I ended up picking up this Mookie Betts card, as I personally believe that a lot of his cards are currently undervalued, but again, that's just my opinion. But I picked this one up for $260. So those are all the pickups I've had. I really hope you enjoyed looking at some charts today, also looking at some of the cards that I plan on buying, selling, and holding. If you did, please feel free to hit the like button and also subscribe. Thanks, and have a good rest of your day. Bye.